Welcome back, everybody. It's day 3 without the King. Wait a second, we got it fixed. I know, that was super stupid, but on Type or Go here. I got a haircut, I got my webcam fixed. Let's dive right into this. We're playing Counting Abzan in Standard, and this is an Abzan deck built around putting +1/+1 counters on our creatures, lore counters on our sagas, and loyalty counters on our planeswalkers. And what better way to abuse that than vorinclex himself? As some of you are aware, I didn't even know how this card worked, as you wanted to point out in the comments. I know. It doubles all counters placed on permanents and or players that we control and halves it for our opponents. So their sagas get no counters placed on them. +1/+1 counters are irrelevant unless it's in multiples at a time, in which case it still halves it, so it's just super strong right now. The real big thing that I misread about this card is that it halved your opponent's stuff and rounded down. Usually it's rounded up. Those kind of effects in general are just like, most effects are rounded up. So like, I just assumed rounded down, if it was half of one, that would just be broken and unfair. But no, it is broken and unfair. That's just what this card does. It's just really good. So play this card in the deck. Just play it. Getting into the rest of the deck, we want all of our creatures to be able to either put counters on themselves, other creatures, or benefit other creatures by placing more counters on them. So we have 2 copies of Swarm Shambler. It's one of the best 1-drops we have access to. Gets a counter when it comes into play. You can put counters on it by tapping it and paying a mana. And it gives us a little bit of protection against targeted removal. If your opponent wants to deal with your creatures, they get replaced by insects, which we can later put more counters onto. Then we're playing all 4 Fearless Fledgling. This is one of my favorite Griffins. If you can't tell, the art is fantastic. 2, it scales very well in the game. When you play lands, it gets counters, and then it gets flying until end of turn. The counters stay permanently. Flying, it goes away, but this is just going to become huge, guys. It's going to be like a 10/10 very easily and very casually if your opponent doesn't do anything about it. All 4 copies of Luminarch Aspirant. You guys already know I love Lord Aspirant. He is the best creature, I think, possibly for this type of strategy, because it puts counters on it for free every turn forever. 2 copies of Scavenging Ooze, because even though Orah is gone, and it's been gone, Croxus still stands. There's some reanimating strategies coming out of the woodworks, and there's a lot of things that deal with the graveyard. So this being able to just silver bullet stuff, very good. All 4 copies of Conclave Mentor. This is our Winding Constrictor of the deck. Back in Historic, I played all 4 copies of this and Winding Constrictor in the same deck, and honestly, it was good for the redundancy, but you probably don't need all 8 copies for that. But with this, we have just the 4 copies in Standard. This guy makes it so whenever a counter is placed on a creature, you put that many +1, and then when it dies, you gain life equal to its power. So this is a good creature to, 1, put counters into, and it's also just nice to have stick around on the board and make the rest of our counter shenanigans just explosive. In the 3-drop slot, we're playing 3 copies of Grakmaw. I chose this over Yorvo because even a Yorvo is probably just like the better card in a vacuum. It costs 3 green in a 3-color deck versus this costing 2 of our 3 colors in a 3-color deck. It's just way less intensive on our mana. It allows us to be able to consistently play this on turn 3. But whenever another creature with a counter dies, this gets a counter placed on it. And when it dies, you get an XX Hydra token equal to its power. So this is really good because it's going to scale over the course of the game. It's going to get bigger. It might not even have to get bigger. If it just gets killed right away, you still get a 3/3 out of it. So you get 6 power for 3 mana over the course of 2 bodies. In the 4-drop slot, the one and only Planeswalker of the deck, Liliana, Waker of the Dead. I chose Liliana just because the ultimate is super strong for this, being able to rebuy all of our creatures out of the graveyard. And with vorinclex, we can ultimate the same turn that we play this. Super strong. All 4 copies of Binding of the Old Gods. Originally, I thought this was a rare, and it looks like a rare, right? Like, it's super strong, but it's uncommon, so of course we crafted all 4 copies. The first chapter, destroy target non-land permanent your opponent's control. That's super good. 2, search your library for a forest, put it into play tapped. And 3, give all of your creatures death touch until end of turn. The 3rd chapter isn't super relevant, but just picture that you're in like a board state cluttered with creatures, you don't have a profitable attack step, and you can't just push through some damage you really need to push through. Giving your creatures death touch is going to make that attack step a little bit better for you and a little bit harder for your opponent. They're not just going to want to block all your creatures because they're all going to die. This card just gets better and better the more I play with it. 2 copies of Polychronos Unchained because there are still some mill strategies going around. There's a lot of removal. Having a creature that we can just buy back out of the graveyard at any point in the game, that's a huge threat on its own. Yeah, we'll take that all day. 2 copies of Elspeth Conquers Death to both deal with our opponent's permanents and buy back our own. Again, with vorinclex, we get 2 chapters of this right away, so we get to exile the permanent and make it so all of our opponent's non-creature spells cost 2 more to cast the same turn. It makes it really hard for your opponent to fight back against what we're trying to do. In the top end, I already covered the vorinclex. But we're also playing 3 copies of the Great Henge because, I mean, it's a counter strategy. You should just be playing the Great Henge, right? Puts counters on your creatures, makes them all bigger. It's going to help us find more and more resources, which is really what this deck needs. We need some card draw and some form of interaction, or some form of card advantage, and the Great Henge is going to do a lot. In the mana base, our mix of basics, our mix of pathways, and we have all 4 copies of the Endotha Triome and 2 copies of Fabled Passage to be able to just kind of shore up any mana troubles that we might have. In the sideboard, 2 copies of Bloodchief's Thirst for early aggression, 2 more copies of Snakeskin Veil, which I didn't actually cover in the beginning of the deck tech. We are playing 2 copies of Snakeskin Veil in the main board and the side. 1 to protect our creatures from targeted removal, and it synergizes with the rest of the deck by placing counters on our creatures. It does a lot for this deck. We're playing 2 copies of Weathered Runestone. I don't really know how good this card is, guys. It's not Grafdigger's Cage. And I don't really want to play like a dedicated graveyard exile effect in this deck because we do kind of have some stuff out of the graveyard. So, I mean, I'm just experimenting with this. Let me know down in the comments below if there's like better options, I guess. 3 copies of Pestilent Haze because mono red and low to the ground aggro decks are the bane of our existence. If we can't establish a board state or have a really explosive draw, we just die like 10 out of 10 times against that deck. 2 copies of Questing Beast against both control and just like very creature heavy decks. This guy's coming out of the sideboard. Most people don't expect it because we're not playing it in the main board. 2 copies of Yasharn because the Rakdos Sacrifice deck and like various aristocrat style decks are showing up a lot right now. And Yasharn is just one of the best cards against it. It also helps find us some mana. It's going to get us a basic forest and a basic plains. And 2 more copies of Elspeth Conquers Death to finish out the sideboard. And that is counting Abzan in standard. And that's it for the deck tech, everybody. Let's take this into the arena and try to beat down our opponents and see if we can get some wins in Diamond Ranked today. Going into game 1 against 13 feet under, that's really deep, bro. That's really deep. We do not have all of our colors, and this opening hand is a little clunky, so we're going to mulligan, I think. And this hand's a lot better. It's a little slower, but having 2 Triomes and 2 Conclave Mentors, this is really strong. We could hold up the Liliana, but I think we just bottom it. Hopefully try to shuffle it back up with Fabled Passage and we'll find it later. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Does that mean what I think it means? That could be a shock. That could be a frostbite. That could just be a mountain, and these could all be mountains and a Tybalt's Trickery. So we need to try to win now, I think. We're going to play our Conclave Mentor first. Alright, so our opponent has a shock. Yep. Okay. So we're not playing against Tybalt's Trickery. Every time I see a mountain, I'm just like, Tybalt's Trickery. Game over, guys. Game over, guys. Dragonkin Berserker. So we're going to play our Endotha Triome. Let's try to play our Conclave Mentor one more time. And if this can survive till our next turn, our Polychronos comes in a little bit bigger. I've been meaning to try this guy out. What do you guys think about Dragonkin Berserker? Is it any good? I mean, he's got to be good, right? You know, a double Aspirant doesn't seem bad here, but I feel like we just go Polychronos. Opponent's going to have a pretty hard time dealing with that. I mean, damage-based removal makes him smaller, but it's not going to kill him. Ooh, Heraldic Banner is pretty good. Oh, you don't want to? Boo. So another Triumph off the top is a little awkward for us. So we could have Polychronos fight the Dragonkin Berserker. Polychronos goes back down to a 3/3 though. And then he's pretty much wide open for Scorching Dragonfire. So I think we just go wide. Give our opponent a lot of choices here as to what they want to try to kill. So we're going to put the counters, try to grow these guys up. Yeah, nice. Super nice, right? The biggest of nice. We're going to try to grow these guys up, get them out of range of potentially a Storm's Wrath or something else. Yep. This is fine. Well, one of our Aspirants is going to die, but we have to kill it. Okay. So I don't really want to play the land. I don't want to lose Polychronos either, but we're going to put the counter on Polychronos. And then just attack. See what he wants to do. Yep. Polychronos is back down to being a 1-1. Not super good. But we got rid of their biggest threat, probably, is the dragon. Ooh, Magda too. Okay. It's an interesting deck. I could actually just straight up kill Magda, but then he gets a 1-1. Well, let's cycle this first. It's not bad. I actually don't mind that. We can shuffle the Liliana back up. Alright, so let's play this land. Put the counter here. No attacks. In response to combat, I could have him fight Magda. Well, I kind of have to. Okay, let me just kill that now. Torbrand's pretty strong. Yeah, it's pretty good. We need how many cards? 6. Land off the top is not going to help us either. Oh boy, oh boy. So we take 9 here, plus 5. Yep, that's a good game. Off to a pretty bad start up against Mono Red, but going into game 2 against Charch 76, and our opening hand this time around seems a lot better. So I think I want to lead off with the Swarm Shambler. We can play the Triumph on 2 if we need to, and hold up the Snakeskin Veil. Or we can play the Plains and lead off on turn 2 with the Fearless Fledgling. Really just depends on what our opponent's on. Yeah. Yep, that's a mountain. Okay. Mono red it is. Alright, so if that's the case, we're going to play the Triumph, and we're just going to pass. So we have multiple ways of doing this. If he doesn't play another Fervent Champion, we can block, put a counter on it, and it will still kill it. Or we can play the Snakeskin Veil if we have to. Even better. Lose your Bone Crusher Giant. Get a snake. Or get an insect, I mean. Oh man, that felt so good. Oh, God. Oh. Oh. Man, that is super strong. Alright, so we're going to get down our Fearless Fledgling so we can maximize the most out of our landfalls for the rest of the game. Yeah, we're just going to keep passing for now. I could have attacked with the Storm Shambler, but I think I'm going to wait, put a counter on it one more time. Hopefully our opponent tries to play like a Shock or another Bone Crusher Giant. Okay, Annex isn't terrible. Pass to attacks. No attacks. So we put a counter here. This gets bigger. This makes that bigger. Alright, so we're going to go to combat. Put the dude here. Get in for 4 overhead. And we'll just keep passing. Our opponent probably does have Embercleave. If they find their 4th land this turn, yeah, there that is. Torbrand. Okay. Torbrand's scary. Depends on how he wants to attack here. It's not really good. It's not really good. So Storm Shambler has to block here, I think. We have to take the 3. Yeah, I think we have to take the 3. Okay, we really need a Binding of the Old Gods here. That would be really helpful against that. Green, let's choose black. So how do we want to play this? Great Henge coming down gives us life and ensures that we can get more resources later, but we have to survive a turn. He has 4 attackers. He's definitely holding up Embercleave. So what keeps us alive? Probably have to play the Grakmaw. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Grakmaw is probably just better. We'll put the counter on Grakmaw so he gets bigger. As much as I want to attack, we're not going to. Alright, Bone Crusher. Deals 4. We get a 4/4. Sure. Alright, so our opponent went more for a damage resource strategy. No attacks. Okay. This becomes 4 mana, and then we'll have the mana to play that and get a draw out of it, which I think is a little bit stronger. Keep this guy getting bigger. No attacks. Auto Tapper kind of wanted to screw me there. Get the Great Henge, get some life back. Get a creature with a counter, get a draw. Ooh, Polychronos is great. Okay. So now we're in okay shape. We have 4 mana plus the 3. We can actually play Polychronos and make him fight Torbrand next turn, but we have to see it. We have to see next turn. Yep, they're going wide. Sure. Okay. So I'll throw one of the insect tokens under the bus. This deals 3 damage though, right? So a shock kills this. That's fine, actually. Let him do it. Wow, that was actually not very good. Alright. Polychronos coming down. Gets a little bit bigger. And we hit an Elspeth. Yeah, we're in great shape, guys. We're in fantastic shape. Do we play the Triome? We don't really have to, right? Nah, let's just play the Triome. Right, so go to combat. Put a counter here. Put a counter here. We want these guys to start getting big. Yeah, no attacks. Pass it up. So we can have Polychronos fight Torbrand in response to combat. We can also have it fight whatever they try to target with the Embercleave. We might have shored up this game. We just might have got there. So these each become 2/2s. Which means they deal 5 damage. Resolve, resolve. 1 block here. 1 blocks here. Yep. Embercleave? Actually, it could be a Castle Emberth activation. Yep, that'll do it. In response, we have to kill the Torbrand now. And that worked out a lot better for us. Yeah, definitely worked out a lot better for us. Get to combat. Can we just close out the game here? Sick. Absolutely sick. Wow. This is why you play Polychronos, guys. It gives us just a little bit of interaction. We really need it. Going into game 3 against Trevor. His name is Trevor. We're going up against Trevor, and I think that this opening hand is pretty good. We're gonna try this out. Faceless Haven for our opponent. Okay. This could be mono red playing this for the creature. This could be Tibalt. It's feeling like it's Tibalt. Alright, let's get down our Conclave Mentor. Bone Crusher Giant. Frostbite. Okay, so this is a fair snow deck. Another Annex. A lot of red today. This has just all been red today. Guys, what the heck? Which one of the top YouTubers made a mono red list recently? Why is everybody doing this to me? Another snow-covered mountain for our opponent. So they have the activation and they can attack. Ooh, the Robber of the Rich. Why would you do that? I'm obviously going to kill this. So I could actually double Aspirant here. Make our Rackmaw super big or just start growing these guys up. I can also Binding of the Old Gods, which I think we probably want to do against Annex. So we'll play our Field of Passage. Grab ourselves another green source. That's pretty good. And he only gets 1/1/1 out of it, which is even better. No attacks. I feel like against Mono Red, you just can't attack them until you deal with all of their threats. Like, you have to just kill all of their permanents first. Another Annex. And a Frostbite? Ew. Ew. Still get a 3/3 out of it. Grab our Triome. Yeah, so I mean, we actually drew into another land, so this is cool. Aspirant. Oh no, I don't have the double white. That's fine. We play the Swarm Shambler. Put the counter here, I think. Another Robber of the Rich. Blocking here. Blocking here. And I'll just take the 4 if they have Embercleave. Oh, they don't. Interesting. We're going to cycle first. Not a very good hit for us, but having the other Luminarch Aspirant is going to help. Go to combat. Put a counter here. Put a counter here. Nah, we're going to keep up 1. We're going to keep up those blockers and just attack with 1. Playing the lands really doesn't matter, but I guess if we draw a Grey Henge off the top, it's relevant. We'll hold up the mana for the Swarm Shambler activation. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good. This is the first time I've actually seen this card being played since it's been on Arena. I know that it's probably one of the strongest cards they've printed in the set. It's the first time I'm experiencing it, though. So opponent's just going to have his dead on board pretty soon, huh? Let's play this Grackmaw first. Go to combat. Put a counter here. Let's put a counter here. Well, now we need to really start closing out the game. He can't block with anything but Annex. Whatever he blocks, we're fine with losing. Puts him down to 11. Rackmaw gets bigger. Okay. The only threat he has is Goldspan Dragon. Embercleave still kills us on the spot. If he found Embercleave, we're dead. Sure. Well, he didn't all attack, actually, so we're okay. He has a Faceless Haven he can block with. Oh no. Annex again, huh? Pretty good. That's pretty good. That's really, really, really good. So what do we put the counter on? Like, I could just put the counter on Vorinclex. He's going to get 2. Yeah. Yep. We might have it. We might have it. I feel like all attacking there might have been bad. But we're dead next turn anyway. Do 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 boo boo woo boo woo. Ooh woo ooh woo tee hee hee ooh woo 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 woo. that vorinclex off the top, guys. Saved our asses. Going into the next game. Going into our fourth game against Ender81, and this is okay. I don't like that our mana is split, though. We're going to mulligan. I like this hand better. Even though it's a little slower, it just gives us more consistency in our mana, I guess. So we're going to keep it. We can't lead off with the turn 1 Shambler, and it seems awkward on 2, so we're going to just bottom that. Lead off with the Ndatha Triumph. Fourth game in a row, guys. Fourth game in a row. This is awful. Is like today a holiday? Is it Mono Red Day? 'Tis the season to burn your opponents. Damn, got a shock. Alright. Well, this feels like the loss that we definitely deserve. Let's see, we lost against Mono Red, beat Mono Red, beat Mono Red. So yeah, we're pretty much overdue for a loss, right? No box. They had a really strong start, and we missed our land drop. That feels awful. Pass it up. Torbrand. Torbrand. We gotta kill the robber here. Oh my god. Magic gods. We're gonna scoop. We're gonna scoop. Let's just hope the fifth game is just like a complete 180 of Mono Red. Going into the fifth and final game against I am you. No, I am me. You are you. But if you are me, then I am lost. Do we keep this hand though? I mean, triple fledgling is kind of funny. I might just keep it because of that. See how our opponent fares against the many birds. Alright, so it's a Lurrus deck, so they're very low to the ground. And it's cycling, okay. It's not as threatening. Ooh. Luminarch Aspirin off the top. We love Aspergers. Flourishing Box. You got bigger. You did the thing. Landfall. Guy gets big. I'm gonna play Luminarch Aspirant. Go to combat. Guy gets bigger. And we're getting in. Cool thing is we have a Snakeskin Veil we can hold up. The way that I see this game playing out, hopefully, is them cycling a ton of cards, but our Fearless Fledgling getting huge, and them resorting to having to kill it with the Zenith Flare, and then we can just hexproof it. That feels really good. Or this could just be flourishing aggro. Okay. Sure. No blocks. Chunked them. No land, unfortunately. Not super good. Well, we'll play out our other fledgling. Combat. I guess we'll actually put a counter here too. And now we have a blocker. I don't mind throwing one of the fledglings under the bus if we have to. I'm really just trying to bank on this Snakeskin Veil saving our butts. I'm really trying to think if this is mono white, but like you need Zenith Flare. You can't just rely on the Fox. Sure. Sure. There's the mountain. Opponent has a lot in grave. Yeah. So we have to protect our life total. We can't give ourselves hexproof. Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, found a land. I think we want the green. That gets bigger. Go to combat. You make this bigger. We just do the same thing, I think. We pass, or we play the fledgling, hold up the snakeskin veil, and pass it up. We're going to throw this fearless fledgling under the bus. He has to kill one of our creatures. Does he not have it yet? Wow, he has seen so much of his deck already. He doesn't have a single copy? He needs a land here or a creature. Okay, so he found a creature. Yes. Mm-hmm. Alright, opponent decides to stop attacking. We're in a really good spot here. I don't think we even need to play the Binding of the Old Gods. If we play this, we're dead to Zenith Flare. We're pretty much dead to Zenith Flare. So, go to combat. Make this one Fearless Fledgling bigger past the main phase 2. We get to play our Great Henge and hold up the Snakeskin mana. That seems a lot better. Alright, so opponent Zenith flares me for 12, and we can't protect ourselves. Smart opponent. Sure. Mm-hmm. I probably would have held up that second cycle to make another dude, but that's just me. Well, I'm gonna kill that. I don't know why I even offered. Gain the life. Liliana's not bad. So we're binding away the token. Let's make our aspirant a little bit bigger. I mean, we're dead to a Zenith Flare regardless. So we just have to pray our opponent doesn't have it. It's been a really tough game. That Snakeskin Veil really would have came in handy, but yeah. Good game. I'd rather lose to this than mono red like all day. Good change of pace though. Welcome back to the wrap up, everybody. If you made it this far, it means you watched the entire video, and I thank you greatly for that. With that being said, we went a pretty mediocre 2 and 3 today, but it's kind of hard to beat mono red 4 times and trying to beat a Zenith Flare deck to top it all off. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck. If you did, click that link down below so you guys can import it yourselves and try it out. Also, I'm going to put an annotation right about there for you guys to get into a giveaway I'm having for a foil extended art Borderless Orah Skyclave Hierophant, as well as a copy of Rings of Brighthearth. So any Commander players out there would love to have these cards in their collection. Click that link so you guys can figure out how to get into that giveaway. With that being said, I'm Rob, aka Untap Your Go. Please do not forget to check out Untap Your Go for more videos and standard, historic, brawl, and the like. And I'll miss you guys. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.